First off, I want to thank you guys so much for 15,000 subscribers. That's absolutely insane. So we obviously got to follow that up with a special story. So this is the story about the one and only time that I've taken acid. Now I gotta throw the warning in. I do not condone drugs. Don't take drugs. But if you're gonna take drugs, make sure you do your research on what you're taking, be safe, and most importantly, do them around the right people, okay? But a few years ago, me and a few buddies, we're gonna call Luigi, astrophysicist, and the doctor, along with our 2 trip sitters, we bought 4 tabs. And for those of you who have done acid, they were about 225 to 250 milligram tabs, which is twice the amount you need to take for your first trip. So as we're sitting there enjoying Rick and Morty, we all cut our tabs in half and we took half of the tabs with our 2 trip sitters watching. Now trip sitter number 2 is the absolute worst trip sitter in the world. They watched us take our tabs and they walked upstairs. I don't know if you know what the definition of a trip sitter is, but it's to watch the people who are tripping. But the other trip sitter, as some of you may know, is Rome Twin. He was the man. He got it done. He knew what was up. Now, as you know, acid takes about 45 minutes to an hour to actually have the effects start to kick in. So we're sitting there chilling out, watching Rick and Morty, and out of nowhere, we all start hysterically laughing. And as some of you know, acid takes a little while to kick in, probably like 45 minutes to an hour. So we threw on the pizza, we were laughing, having a great time, waiting for this to kick in. None of us have taken it before, no one knew what to expect. So after this time passes by, out of nowhere, we all start laughing, just hysterically laughing. It was one of the most euphoric feelings I've ever had in my life. I mean, there was not a single care going through any of our heads. Every single thing that happened all of a sudden became very funny. And I was expecting all these colors and shapes to be coming out everywhere, and no, it was just extremely bliss. So the pizza gets done, we cut it up into even slices, and my buddy astrophysicist just throws a slice at the wall and it sticks. Literally just splats on the wall and stays there. Now there's only been a few times in my life where I've laughed so hard that I actually pissed myself. That was one of those times. Now, I was so out of it at the time that I was laughing so hard, I didn't even realize we turned on the Xbox and we were watching a music video where Lil Wayne was just dancing in a garden. Once again, I started pissing myself laughing. For some reason, that was the funniest thing ever. While this music video was playing, I started Snapchatting everyone saying, "Alright, deuces, I'm going to a different planet, guys." We started just experimenting, watching random things to see what was funny, and we turned on Cosmos. Everyone was so interested in what was going on with space and everything, and all I could do the entire time was laugh at Neil deGrasse Tyson's fucking mustache. I mean, it was literally one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Like, him and Steve Harvey. They got some mustaches, bro. Now, I was really invested in this mustache watching. I didn't even realize that astrophysicist was missing, okay? So me being on acid, I said, I gotta go on a mission. I need to find this man. Where could he be? So I grab an ice cream cone and I go on a mission by myself throughout my friend's house, just looking for my boy astrophysicist. And eventually I look under the bathroom door and I can see the light on. So I do that thing where you unlock the bathroom door with your fingernail, right? And I just pop in there. And all I can see is him on the toilet with the lid down, crying, holding a vape in one hand and an Arizona half and half in the other. And I realized he was going on an emotional adventure himself, so I literally chucked the ice cream cone into the bathroom, watched it splat on the floor, and I closed the door and relocked it. Which was the funniest shit that ever happened in my head at the time. An hour and a half passes by, we're all just vibing, the same things are happening as usual. It's like 2 or 3 in the morning at this point. And then it all clicks, you know, none of us were really seeing a whole bunch yet, we were just kind of relaxing, it was a great time. We decided to drop the other half that we had completely forgot about. And really conveniently, our other trip sitter decided to come back down right as we were taking the tabs. And all they did was shrug their shoulders and walk back upstairs. I don't know where they're gonna work in the future, but I don't think babysitting's the right option for them. 30 minutes pass by, we're waiting for the tabs to re-kick in again. I leave to take a piss, I come back down, and all of a sudden there's a circle of people just crying. All my homies are in a circle, just bawling their eyes out. I walk over, and within not even a split second, I went from the happiest person in the world to I was bawling my eyes out. There was no interruption. I mean, I just started crying. I don't know if you've ever taken acid before, but it's a very, very emotional experience. And out of nowhere, someone just started laughing, and that immediately reflipped our moods again. And it was up and down like that all night. And every time it happened, I always looked over to my boy Rome, and he was like, what the fuck is going on? We were like a bunch of chicks, and all of our cycles were just lined up. It all makes sense. Like, we were sucking on ice cream cones too. Like, it's just, we were just a bunch of boys on our period. It was a very casual night. But right after we went on our little emotional roller coaster, telling each other we all loved each other so much and we're never gonna break up as the boys, I look at the wall, and this is my first time that I remembered, oh yeah, I took psychedelics. There was a hole on the wall that I was looking at, and it looked like it was breathing. Like, the entire wall was just kind of folding back and forth. Like, kind of like waves. And it looked like it was pumping out some sort of gas into the room. And I just looked at the boys, I'm like, tonight's the night we fucking die. They're gassing us. And my boy Astro was just sucking helium out of a balloon. I'm like, stop, don't do that. Look how much gas is in the room right now. And while I was on this adventure in my head trying to figure out what this gas was, it all hit me like a train, both tabs at once. I looked at the walls and I felt like it was in Las Vegas. There was neon signs coming out of the walls with sayings. I couldn't read it. It wasn't like English. It made sense in my head at the time, but there was just neon signs coming out of the wall and like floating towards me. And like fading away and reappearing closer. And there was just colors floating through the air. I think at one point I saw a lion's head come out of the wall and then re-disappear. But they were all very neon electric designs. It was really cool. And my buddy Rome Twin is sitting there trying to show me optical illusions. And I'm like, dude, I can't even see it. I'm tripping right now. It's reversing the effects of these optical illusions. And then I thought of the most genius idea ever. I pulled out the vape. Back when I vaped, I used to do a whole bunch of tricks and shooting O's and stuff, right? And there's nothing more fun than doing that on acid. Oh my god. Let me tell you something. That was the experience of a lifetime. We started chucking huge clouds. And I was so deep into this acid trip, you know, I was starting to peak. I saw memories from my life popping up in these vape clouds. There was colors shooting out of the clouds at me. Just memories of me and the boys. And I started getting really emotional and crying, making everyone else cry, and then I realized that the slice of pizza was still on the wall from earlier. I pointed out to everyone, we lose our shit laughing, and then I see astrophysicists walk up, literally just rip the slice of pizza off of the wall that's been sitting there for, mind you, 3.5 hours, and just start eating the pizza. So I go on another laughing spree for another 5-10 minutes, and then I realized, oh, this trip ain't done yet. I sit down on the couch, blinked, looked up at astrophysicists, and all I can see was him, and behind him, everything else in the entire room was gone. It was just rainbows. He was just in a world of rainbows. And every time he talked, I saw exactly what he was saying as subtitles coming out of his mouth, and his eyes were getting bigger and swirling. He actually looked like he was in the intro sequence to an anime. I'm not even joking. Like, this was some Sugoi type shit. I wish I could have taken a picture with my eyesight to show you guys what it looked like, but it's impossible. And I was so far into this trip at this point that I swear at that point in time I could hear colors and taste sound. It was the most unexplainable thing that I've ever experienced in my life. I can't say it any other way because it just doesn't make sense unless you were there in that trip at that moment. It was the most obscene thing. I still cannot believe that I saw subtitles coming out of this dude's mouth just flying at me and waving around. I could see what he was saying. There was like electronic palm trees growing out of the ground. I was tripping. And the rest of that part of the trip was an absolute blur. The next thing I knew is the trip was finally starting to die down around 6 or 7 in the morning. Right as I started to remember what was going on, astrophysicist and Luigi went to the gas station to go get some breakfast, go on a little adventure. Me and the doctor and Rome Twin decided to stay back. And I got a call 20 minutes later from Astro and Luigi. Why the headlights were on from a car in their driveway. And I said, I have no idea. I'm in the basement, you dumbass. And they sat out there for 20 minutes waiting for that car to leave, just to realize that they were still tripping and none of the headlights were on. I got a pretty good kick out of that. But they snuck back inside. We never got caught. I didn't go to sleep. I don't know how you could go to sleep after that. It was such a mesmerizing experience. I don't know what was going through my head, but for some reason that day, I wanted to go to my grandparents, and I went to my grandma, and I just gave her the biggest hug of my life. I felt like I loved everything. I went home, and I slept for like 13 hours the next day. And that's basically the end of that. That is the acid story. I know it wasn't anything absolutely insane. Like, I didn't jump off a building and die and come back to life. And it was honestly a pretty good trip, you know? It wasn't too scary. I had prepared for the absolute worst, you know? I was ready for it. I was like, I'm taking on whatever. I'm gonna take a lesson from this. And then I ended up just seeing a bunch of rainbows and stuff. Maybe that was to signify that I just haven't come out of the closet yet. But anyways, I'm sweating balls. I recorded this whole thing with the sun shining through the window because I don't have curtains. So I'm gonna go take an ice bath and a sombrero. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. If you want to see another story time, let's see 100 likes on this bad boy. And I want to thank you guys once again for 15,000 subscribers. I feel like I was just thanking you for 10,000 like, what, 2 weeks ago? Absolutely crazy. We gotta throw a party. I hope you guys are having an amazing ass day and doing okay through the whole quarantine situation. I've got a couple of very special videos planned out for the near future, so I hope you guys are ready for that. And I'm really looking forward to the ice bath, so I'm gonna go do that now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Woo!